today's video, we're going to take a look at how to use the OCI Monitoring Service to generate alerts for a VM instance once its CPU exceeds a specific value. So the first thing that we need to do as part of this is to create a notification topic. So we go to Developer Services, select Notifications, and then select Create Topic. We'll give the topic a name of Demo VM, which will be the VM instance that we're monitoring as part of this demonstration. And then once we've done that, we hit Create. So once we've created the topic, we then need to click into the topic itself and create a subscription. Essentially, this is where those alerts are routed to. So we'll select Create Subscription. And as you can see, there are various options for how the alerts are sent. To keep things simple, we're just going to use an email alert. So I'll select Email. I'll then pop in an email address for those alerts to be sent to. Once I've done that, hit Create, and what we should then see is the state of that subscription as pending. Now it'll sit like this forever, and the reason is you actually need to confirm and validate the email address that you've configured as part of the subscription. So what you should receive is an email to the email address that's been configured from OCI, and within that there is a button to press to confirm the email address so that the alert can be configured. So if we select Confirm Subscription, so that's the email I received, and then go back to the subscription itself, what we should then see is that flips to active. So we're good to go. We can continue with the rest of the demonstration. We'll now take a quick look at the compute instance that we're going to monitor. So going to Compute and Instances, and here's Demo VM, which is a VM instance that we will monitor for excessive CPU utilization. The next thing we need to do is to go into Observability and Management and go into Alarm Definitions. And what we'll do here is create an alarm that monitors CPU utilization on that server and fires an alert when it exceeds 50%. So we'll give the alarm a name. Very imaginatively, I'm just going to call this Demo VM High CPU. We then need to select the metric namespace. As we're monitoring a compute instance, we need to select the compute agent namespace. We can then see the different metrics that are available within that namespace. We're going to simply select CPU utilization. We can select the interval to monitor. We'll keep this at the default of 1 minute, and we'll also keep the measurement using its default setting of mean. We then need to select the instance that we will monitor. So I'm going to select it based on its display name. And from the drop down here, I should see the two VM instances I've got. And I'm simply going to select Demo VM from that. We then need to configure the trigger rule for the alarm. So what I'm going to do is configure a value of 50, which means that when the CPU utilization is above 50%, it will trigger an alert. What we've done here is put a trigger delay of 5 minutes, which means it needs to exceed 50% for 5 minutes before the alert is actually generated. We can see the real-time CPU utilization from that VM instance there. And then the last thing that we need to do is to choose where the alarm goes to. So we'll select the topic that we created at the beginning of the demonstration, which will then use a subscription to fire an email off to the email address that we configured when the alarm is generated. So now we'll save the alarm, and that's good to go. What we now need to do for this specific demonstration is actually configure it so that the CPU on this VM instance that we're monitoring exceeds 50%. And the way that we will do that is by running a quick script on the VM instance itself to generate some synthetic CPU load. So what we'll do here is run a command that will run in the background. It'll peg a single CPU around 100%. We'll then run htop, and we can see now that the scripts that I'm running is pretty much pegging that single CPU. If we then keep monitoring this, and I've put a time lapse in to make it simpler, what we should eventually see is after 5 minutes, we fire. So you can see it's firing now. We've got the flames there. We can see the alert's been fired. In addition to this within the console, You'll also receive an email based on the subscription configuration that's been configured. And if we look at the alarm data, we can see here the excessive CPU utilization. Essentially, it's been pegged to 100% for the last few minutes. And also the transition history for that specific alarm too. We can see the current state is in firing. Now, if we want to return it back to its normal state to just complete the demonstration, what we need to do is to go back onto the VM instance itself. And we're going to need to kill that script that's running. So I'll just start another SSH session to that machine. We'll kill that command that's running. And then once we've done that, if we look at HTOP again, we'll see it's returned to normal. So what should happen now within 5 minutes is it should transition back into a state of the alarm isn't firing and it goes back to normal. With my wonderful time lapse, we can see it's now gone back to normal. And in addition to that, again, you receive an email to inform you it's gone back to normal again. And we can see now that it's okay and the timestamp of it. So hopefully that's been useful for everybody. You can see how to generate alarms quickly and easily.